What's going on out there, YouTube? What's up, Team Commander fans? It's your man, Hollywood Sports. Welcome back to another video, guys. We're going to talk about the defense. The defense, that's right. You know, the defense really let us down all season long. You know, they had their little spurts, but overall, guys, our defense played like garbage. Now, I want to talk about the defense. We know we need some defensive talent. You know, Bobby Wagner, who knows if he's going to be back. You know, Von Miller, who knows if he's going to be back. They're overaged anyway. We need some young, you know, like Dan Quinn said, not Dan Quinn, but Adam Peters said, we need some young speed. We need some young talent with speed, and so we need to focus on that in the on the defense for the free agency and the NFL draft. But let's talk about our current defense as it was for the season. You know, we were ranked 32nd in the NFL, dead last in total defense, man, dead last, guys. How can you be dead last? So obviously we understand it might have been the defensive coordinator, Joe Witt Jr. You know, I'm pretty sure he was a part of the problem, but we basically need talent, man. We need talent, guys. Okay, the defense allowed 26.3 points per game. You know, I want to bring these stats up because sometimes we don't realize how bad we were, even though we know how bad we were, but statistically wise, how bad we were, and that we can never win football games with these type of statistics for the defense. I mean, we all know that, but sometimes it's glaring and evident and up front when you hear it. It shows you really we got to make some changes on defense, man. 26.3 points per game. That's 22nd in the NFL. Okay, we generated only 6 takeaways. Okay. Only 6, guys. You can get 6 takeaways by accident, just from people fumbling the football, just by quarterbacks reading the coverage wrong. But our coverage was, our defensive schemes was so easy to read, man. I think that's a lot. That was another part of the problem, the scheme of the defense. Teams could figure it out really quick. So we only had 6 takeaways. That was 29th in the NFL. 3 away from being the worst, but 29th, that's still really bad in the NFL. You know, Bobby Wagner's 35 years old. He led the defense in tackles, guys. He had reached a goal of 2,000 tackles in a career. There's only 3 people that have done that. I can't remember them all, but we know Bobby Wagner did it. And our other Washington commander, I can't think of his name right now, but he always does the videos, the broadcast, the commanders reports and stuff like that. I'll think of his name in a minute. But anyway, guys, there's only 3 people. I can't think of the third person right now. But we only had 6 takeaways, guys. That's ridiculous. Oh, no, back on that. But, Bobby Wagner, who knows if he's going to be back, he's showing that he's okay. He might be a little suspect in coverage when our linebackers have to cover the tight ends. He's suspect that way, but I still think we can use him for teaching. Even if he doesn't play all the snaps like he did this year, when you have 2,000 tackles, guys, and I think he was in the top 5 in tackles in the NFL at 35 years old. It's probably going to be a money situation on the money we have available and all that stuff. It's going to be complicated, but we got to find somebody to replace Bobby Wagner, somebody that's dominant, man. Hopefully we can find it in free agency or maybe the draft. All right. Yeah, he led, and Mike Sainristil, he had another cornerback we got here. He led the defense in interceptions. I think he had 4 of those takeaways. Okay, so Sainristil, Mike Sainristil, guys, he had 4 of those takeaways on defense this year. He had 4 interceptions, man, 4. And Sainristil's a good player, man. He played good with us in the first year as a rookie playing corner, and then he played it good again this year as a slot corner. Because we had Amos and Amos on one side, and we had Marshawn Lattimore on the other side. But and then when Marshawn Lattimore got hurt, went back and played corner and played pretty well. So Sandra Steele is one of the major players we need to keep on defense. He has some talent. I'm not saying he's a Pro Bowler or anything, but he can be added to that defense, guys. So I like Sandra Steele. When we talk about, we gave up 384.3 yards allowed in the NFL. Almost 400 yards allowed per game, guys. Per game, okay? And we were dead last in the NFL for that. Ranked 32nd. We gave up 384 yards per game. That is just horrible. And Joe Witt Jr. wonders why they letting him go. He's probably going to blame it on the players that we don't have enough talent. Now, your schemes have to be a big issue. The schemes have to be at least 60 to 65%, 70% of the reason why your defense is successful. When you talk about disguises and coverage shells and stuff like that. But we do need talent, though. We do need talent. So that's probably the other percentages. But the schemes are a really big issue. A really big vocal point when it comes to our defense, man. You look at the great defenses around the league, they got great schemes, man. Especially the Seahawks. You see the way they play. They give up yards, but they don't break. If you make mistakes on the seat, that's why they had a big turnover margin. The Seattle Seahawks, man. I watched their defense. They're right there. They're right in position. They just play a perfect defense based on your offense, and they don't give up the big play. They give up plays they bend, but they don't break. When you make one mistake, they're in position. That's a defense. I like that. Okay. The defense averaged 2.4 sacks per game. Okay, that's 14th in the NFL. That's not bad. Really, that's not bad. When you better than half of most of the teams in the NFL when you averaging 2.5 sacks a game. That's pretty good, guys. So because we got a good D-line and we got some good edge rushers, but I think that was in the beginning, like Lance Armstrong was starting out. He was one of the top sacks guys in the NFL. I think he had at the time before he got hurt, he had like 5.5 sacks or something like that. He was doing pretty good. So that kind of helped out the average right there. Again, injuries plagued us this season. And that's a good to okay stat, guys. When we got 2.5 sacks per game. Let's see. Now, Dallas had, Dallas had 59, the Jets had 56, we had 51, and the Titans had 51, okay? Most surrendered in 17 games, okay? Yeah, okay. The defense had a high 10.7 missed tackles. We know that was a big issue. A huge issue. They would play good defense, man, and then they give up the big play. They would play good defense first and second down, then the third down they would give up a big play. Or if the teams had a fourth and short, they would give up the big play. So it's kind of ridiculous, guys. 10.7% missed tackles. That's a lot. That is a very lot. So obviously we need good tackling on defense also. Again, when you don't have positioning, player positioning, the schemes, things like that, then your players are obviously in a bad position. They don't have leverage. All that counts when it comes to the scheme, guys. When you have leverage, player positioning, you have advantage, momentum, things like that. I think that's a big cause why we missed a lot of tackles too. They're coming in at the wrong angles and stuff like that because they're really out of their space. So they have to go to another space to try to make a tackle. So we're bad in that area too. Now, Dorance Armstrong, going back to him, he had 5.5 sacks, guys, and we need him. So I think we need to keep him. I don't know how his injury history when we picked him up. But he had 16 solo tackles also. And he's only 28 years old, man. So we need to keep Dorance Armstrong. Hopefully he can get healthy, have a good offseason, come back a lot stronger, and be our sack. He could be that edge rusher we need because Adam Peters said we need to go out and get an edge rusher. Okay? And maybe we can put one on the other side. But Dorance Armstrong was showing he can get it done. He can get it done. But guys, okay, that's a quick video, guys. I really wanted to talk about our defense in the areas where we looked horrible. We were weak. We didn't cause any turnovers. The whole 9 yards. We just looked bad. Hopefully, we can change that around. Hopefully, we haven't brought in our defensive coordinator yet. Hopefully we'll bring somebody in that understands the schemes of this NFL, the offenses around the NFL, and put a package together. Bring in some more talent, and we'll see what happens next year. But I hope you guys enjoyed the Washington Commanders report. I'm Hollywood Sports, and I'll see you guys next time.